Hey guys, it's Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching, doing a trade review for ES. Man, it was an incredible day. I know I mess around a lot on Twitter sometimes, and I go look at the Bears got smoked, or look at the longs are choking on their positions. But days like today are really dangerous, and they're one of the things that I really work hard at getting my clients through, right? Because there's two things that are going on. There's a lot of opportunity, right? You can make an enormous amount of money. But missteps on a day like today, getting a fixed mindset on what the market should do versus keeping a mindset on what the market is doing, right? So notice that. It's a really slight distinction between what you think the market should do and what the market is doing. So what I'd like to do tonight is talk about how I go through the homework process and how we set up the day, and kind of look at a before and after picture to get a clear picture of what was going on. So a couple of things. First of all, to start the day, this was my white zone for the day. So what the white zone represents is the area where I think the Bulls or the Bears gain overall control. And if we've, before I start that, I've got to do the quick legally disclaimer, so let me jump that in real quick. Basically what this says is the webinar is for educational purposes only. It's not a recommendation to buy or sell any particular financial instrument. Equities, futures, options, and currency trading have large potential rewards but also large potential risks. Be aware of the risks. Be willing to accept them, friends, that if you're going to trade, you're going to lose sometimes. Do not trade with money you can't afford to lose. Really simple rule. The website isn't a solicitation nor an offer to buy or sell equities, futures, or options. No representation is being made that any account will achieve profits or losses similar to those discussed in the channel. Past performance of any trading system obviously is not indicative of future performance. Consult your registered financial advisor and your risk trading plan before ever investing or trading any financial instrument. Pretty straightforward stuff. Let's move on. So I want to achieve two things here, right? I realize that there's great potential rewards, but the one thing that I said to my members, so I kind of want to scroll through here onto my private Twitter stream from last night, if I can drag that up, which I think I can. All right, and what you'll see, we go down through here. Wow, there's too much on here, so let's just go directly to the tweets. And let's see, where were we? Last night. Okay, so this goes back obviously into early this morning. Actually, you see the time on this. 13 hours ago would have been early this morning. So I'm just going to kind of want to step you back. Key trade I'm looking for today is a push down with 5-minute tick divergence for a long. We didn't get it, but that was the key trade that I was looking for. I wanted to trade to the upside, right? I put in, it's worth remembering, all but the worst bear markets, it's rare, and it's hard to get two closes on low back to back, right? ES and NQ bouncing, not a surprise. I expect 2A markets as bears try to come in for a push lower. So that's what I was looking for early in the morning, was that push lower to feed into a push down to give me 5-minute tick divergence for a long side trade. And then in the evening, I posted a couple of notes. Let's see here. 10-point rotations would be the order of the day, right? 5-minute tick divergence was golden today. I expected it tomorrow. And then the most important thing that I wanted to get across to the members, and again, it's important that you have this in your own checklist, even if you're not in a room or you're not trading on a team, something that can constantly remind you, right? It's been my experience that getting bearish in the hole, so this is printed almost 24 hours ago from where we are right now, so this is yesterday evening. It's been my experience that getting bearish in the hole without waiting for the counter back up and good location has killed many traders. I think that that's absolutely true. So if we come up into this morning, again, we were looking for the push down, right? And that was very, very important to understand that initial push down I thought would get countered and pushed back up. I was actually hoping for a more significant push. So the next step in that process was we gapped up and we gapped into the white zone. And really this whole area, this 31 to 26 had become a, if you remember, you go back and look in the Asian session and prior markets, that whole area had become a support area, so it would be natural to think that that would be a resistance area. But, right, you had to balance that with it's unlikely that we were going to get another drive. And it was also obvious that the weakest hands would be pushing for a gap fill. So there's a couple of rules that I follow. Usually, if you can't get a gap fill in the first hour, you're probably not going to get it, number one. And number two, who had the stronger gap? Now remember, in the regular session, even though on both Tuesday's low, neither market was able to test the June swing low. That's down here at 24.12. And even though we were able to test it in NQ, even in the overnight session, we were not able to get down to 24.12. Secondly, we were already trending up coming out of the European session into the US session, and this is a pretty significant gap relative to the current environment that we're in, right? So large gaps tend not to fill. So let's go through it. We had a bearish environment. We had a small gap in NQ, and we had a fairly sizable gap, but right into resistance on ES. And what we were looking for is ES to get above and hold above the white zone, which would give us the key to the upside. Okay, so there's a frustration that's going to come up here, right? I wanted a long side trade and a push. I generally am not that eager to jump into the market in the first half hour, right? And to the long side, and I was looking for a deeper push here, maybe even a half gap. But I didn't have time to get it set up with tick divergence. It never developed at all. Tick was healthy all morning long, and this essentially ended up behaving as a kind of pseudo gap up, and how's the best way to describe it? It ended up acting as a pseudo gap up and open drive higher. And so the first thing that we knew, right, first of all, I wasn't going to get my long location. Early in the morning, right out of the gate, and you'll see I posted the live market preview, so if you can go back and look at the video, first thing I did right out of the gate is I was short right here at 24.30. I shorted NQ out of the gate, although I did not call it. I don't call my NQ trades, generally speaking, but I was sharing that my personal trade plan, and I said before the open, was to fade this area. That's exactly what I did, and I covered when I got 2 points rotation downside. That was all I was looking for out of this particular trade. Okay, so the next step that I was looking for was a short location. 24.30, so this was resistance 15 up. This was the volume point of control from Tuesday, and I was looking to fade that location into Tuesday's volume point of control. I shorted it 2 ticks in front, 35.50. So now I'm following a process on this short. I know that I need to be able to achieve my target. There's two things that you had to pay attention to. Both between 36 and 38.50, both were valid short locations. I thought both were going to take a significantly longer time to roll to the downside, and I was willing to give those trades about 45 minutes to work. And so I was short here. I was able to get one scale through here, but we just never rolled over, as everyone knows. But the location did its job precisely, right? We came in, and then if you look, so I covered this trade flat on the balance. I took, I think, a point or point and a half on the first 1/3, then 2/3 were covered flat. And then I had to leave for the day well, not for the day, but for the afternoon. I had a date with my daughter, and I chose the date with my daughter over trading, and that was probably a smart trade. So if you look over here, what's going on with NQ, it's really critical. We pushed below Tuesday's low, we closed below Tuesday's low, but as soon as we closed back in, these shorts were totally trapped and were forced very quickly to cover. And if you look, these white areas are really key areas for my trades, and we pushed exactly into that area. That was a 50-60 from the prior day. These were single prints from a TPO, and this worked as resistance, at least for a 10-point counter rotation here. So the next trade that members in the room did take was this 24.38, approximately 2 ticks in front of the NVPOC, and that was worth another 2 points of roll down. And then in the afternoon, I just simply said, look, we're not getting any counter rotation. Buyers are in overall control. There is 0 point in fighting this afternoon, right? And let me tell you where that really paid off, and that was in NQ. Recognizing that we could V-shape this thing, even though I couldn't get long location on that trade. I really only had one chance to get good long location on that particular trade, and I hesitated here. I discussed it, and I said, you know, if that traps back in, that's probably going to be gone. And and just like that. And I mean, you don't get many shots at a trade like that. But there was no place else. Quick short over here, and then there was nothing to do in the afternoon. You just had to let it go. And they've continued to push it up in Asia. So I want to go and wrap it up now. And I can't believe I've done this all in 10 minutes and why this is so important, right? We have a checklist for who's in control when you get a gap up. Are you able to achieve half gap? Are you able to achieve gap fill? When NQ was coming down, did ES follow? It did not, right? You knew that you had 2 hard selling days, that you got a lot of panic and a big push down at night. You were trend up out of London, right? And we were above this key white zone, which was really clear. So what we're doing here from a trading perspective is, A, we're staying really calm, right? Our emotions aren't in, oh my gosh, you don't hear any talk about it's a bear market, it's a bull market, other than ES tends to generally go up, right? But you don't hear me talking about, oh, the market has to go down or the market's going to go down. What you hear talk about is, when are we getting to our key locations, right? What's the time frame it takes those trades from those key locations to work in general? What are the stretches that the market has? And what are those key locations on those stretches, right? And I said, again, if you saw in the private Twitter stream, 10-point rotations is what we were really at a minimum trying to key off of, right? And you'll see again, 26 to 36 provides a key location, right? And you'll notice at the end of the day, we've actually squeezed all the way up. Not quite, we got to 44.50. We haven't quite got to 46, but it looks like we're working our way towards that in the Asian session. Not buying the hype that the market was crashing. You would have seen a lot of talk yesterday on NQ about how the market closed below the 50-day moving average, that it was now in a bear market, right? And then the last piece that was, and those were pieces, so let's correct. It wasn't a huge day today, right? Because in order to get that huge day, I needed a rotation down at some point in the day that just never happened. And I don't chase my trades to the long side up, right? Number 2 on that front, if you want to use that word front, number 2 on that front was I never got the only thing I was going to get on a day like today is going to be short entries, and I have a choice, right? So I'm generally hesitant to stick shorts. I'm much more willing to stick longs than I am shorts when I get that opportunity. And so I have a timer on these shorts, and recognizing that there was no counter rotation, that they couldn't achieve target, I didn't let it frustrate me, and I didn't hear anyone in the room really get frustrated. What we did is we took the trades, we covered them, and set up for the next location, and covered them as they came in. And we didn't try to turn the day into something it wasn't, which was trying to get a rollover. And then, of course, at the end of the day, I have a pretty simple rule. There's no point in really trading the last hour of the day, because you can't tell when it's just going to sit here and balance, when it's going to rip straight up as it did in NASDAQ, or when it's going to rip straight down as it did yesterday afternoon. So if you're a struggling trader, I recommend a couple of things. First of all, you don't have to trade the open. You don't have to trade the close, right? Best trades tend to come in the middle of the day most of the time. Secondly, focus on rotation size. Make sure that however you're coming up with your support and resistance zones, that they actually truly are key locations that'll let you take those trades over and over and over again. And then finally, have a personal methodology for your mental preparation for the day. For me, it's meditation and exercise in the morning and in the evening. You'll see that I religiously post that. And then have an outlet, someone you can talk to about your trading that can get into your head and onto your spreadsheets, right? And really dig into the meat of what's going on. And I don't care if it's FT71 that you follow, or there's a lot of great guys out there with a lot of great methods. And I'll always come back to this. It doesn't matter whose levels you are. My levels are very, very good. But it doesn't matter. What matters is how you execute your trade plan, how you respect your stops, right? And how you build your confidence in a process that you can repeat, so that you're not just taking one trade and praying that that one trade works, but that you're taking one of 100 trades, and that you know that that will repeat over and over and over again. Anyways, my name is Simon. I'm a Trade and Perform Coaching. My love project, or my pet project, has been helping traders get from being mediocre traders or losing traders or boom bust traders to being consistent traders. That's what my passion is, besides trading itself. And all of that, right? If someone tells you, well, trading's easy, right? It's not. It takes a process. It takes dedication. It takes being well capitalized, right? And then it takes the willingness to put in the work. So if you would like to come see how a professional trader handles his room and how you really look to get consistent day in, day out, you're welcome to join us. Send me an email at tradeandperform@gmail.com. And I'd be more than happy to extend a 5-day pass into the room. And the room is not expensive. It's $95 a month. I'm pretty sure it's the best deal out there. I offer the NQ charts, the ES charts, and commentary throughout the day. So not sure that there's a better deal going out there. Anyways, everyone have a wonderful night. Trade well, trade smart. Don't blow up. You don't have to. It is absolutely not worth it. It's devastating financially and psychologically. Protect your capital. Take the time to learn to trade right. Have a great night, guys.